All men should watch this video. How to make any woman instantly chase you, modern stoic. Love is composed of a single soul inhabiting two bodies. Aristotle. For years, you've been told a lie that attraction is either instant or impossible. That if she's not interested, your only option is to move on. But that's not the full picture. And today, we're going to challenge that belief. Welcome back to the channel. If you've grown tired of being the man who waits, who second-guesses himself, or who constantly feels like he's falling short, this is for you. Because this isn't about pickup lines or clever tactics. This is about something deeper, the psychology behind attraction, and how small but powerful changes in mindset can completely flip the dynamic in your favor. Here's the truth. Most men never hear modern culture has wired many women to believe they're the prize, by default. That the man should prove himself, initiate, chase, and hope to be chosen. But when you stop feeding that narrative, when you carry yourself as the man who sets the standard, the dynamic shifts. Suddenly, you're not background noise. You're the man she has to earn. You stop chasing, and she starts noticing, start questioning, starts pursuing. Today, we'll break down exactly how that works, not through games or manipulation, but by helping you reframe how you show up in the world, how you engage with women, and how you reclaim a sense of power most men have unknowingly surrendered. If you're ready to move from uncertain to unshakable, from ignored to irresistible, stay with me. Number 1. Stop giving her free attention. Don't be that guy, the one glued to his phone, double-tapping her photos before his coffee even hits the cup, throwing compliments like confetti at a parade she didn't invite you to. That's not a charm. That's charity. And women don't chase charity. They chase challenges. This is where the old Stoic wisdom gets it right. Restraint is strength. One of the most silent, most devastating mistakes men make, especially between the ages of 35 and 70, is thinking attention equals affection. It doesn't. In fact, it often does the opposite. When your attention is always available, always free, always guaranteed, it loses all meaning. It becomes background noise. And let me tell you, no woman chases background noise. You must remember this. Attention is not affection. Attention is currency. In the modern Stoic playbook, you guard your emotional wallet like a vault. The man who knows the blessing of Stoicism understands that the more he gives without invitation, the less it's worth. Be unpredictable. Be selective. Be unavailable. Not because you're playing games, but because you're living a life so full that her validation isn't your oxygen. That's attractive. That's magnetic. That's what makes her chase. Let's talk about Marcus, a regular guy, but a man of quiet power. He meets this beautiful, clever woman. Every part of him wants to pour himself into her inbox, to react, reply, reassure, because that's what he's been conditioned to think will win her over. But Marcus, he chooses the Stoic path. He pulls back, not coldly, just intentionally. He doesn't text good morning unless it means something. He compliments when it's earned, not when it's expected, and then he disappears. No explanation, just back to living, work, gym, purpose, peace. The result? She leans in, she wonders, she checks her phone twice, she starts the conversation, not because Marcus tricked her, but because he respected himself enough not to make his time cheap. This is not about manipulation, it's about calibration. You must stop making her the center of your orbit before she's even earned that gravity. A woman will never chase what she already has on tap. She'll never crave attention that costs her nothing. Be the man whose attention feels earned, like a rare medal handed out only when deserved. Be the old Stoic who sees silence not as absence, but as presence, the presence of dignity, self, respect, and stillness. That mystery, that's what drives her wild. Don't fall for the trap. Don't be the guy who scrolls, likes, texts, and waits. Be the guy she wonders about. The modern Stoic doesn't give himself away cheaply. He's not cold, he's not cruel, he's composed, intentional, and because of that, he's irresistible. The less freely you give your attention, the more powerful it becomes. The blessing of Stoicism is knowing that what's rare is revered. So stop handing out your power like free samples. Make her earn it. And when she does, give it generously, but never carelessly. Number 2, act like she's not special. Act like she's not special. At least, not yet. Most men don't even realize they're doing it. But the second they meet an attractive woman, their entire demeanor changes, their voice softens, their posture shifts, and suddenly their whole focus becomes about keeping her interested. That's the exact kind of energy that repels a woman before anything even begins. Why? Because beautiful women are used to being treated like royalty, for doing nothing more than showing up. Compliments, attention, favors, they come without effort. It's not exciting, it's expected. So, when you become just another guy falling over himself to impress her, you become invisible. But when you don't give her special treatment, when you remain composed and treat her like anyone else, you disrupt the script she's used to. That throws her off, in a good way. She starts paying attention. She wonders why you're not falling in line like the rest. That curiosity, that's the spark. That's when she begins to invest. And no, this doesn't mean being rude or dismissive. It means showing respect without idolizing. It means you're not trying to impress her. You're seeing if she impresses you. That flips the dynamic. You're no longer chasing, you're evaluating. That's the Stoic life in motion. You're grounded, measured, unshaken by external beauty. Most men are trained to believe instant admiration is attractive. But the truth is, women chase men who don't hand out their approval like free samples. If she senses you're putting her on a pedestal just because she's attractive, she'll stop trying. Your mindset has to be simple, no matter how stunning she is. It doesn't automatically qualify her for your time. Your energy, attention, and presence are valuable. Treat them like currency, not candy. A woman feels that kind of quiet confidence, and that speaks louder than words. She's not special until she gives you a reason to see her that way. And when you live by that belief, she feels it. That's when everything changes. She begins to seek the validation you're not offering, not because you're playing games, but because you actually respect yourself. This is one of the core Stoic lessons: master yourself first. You don't chase, you attract by living with purpose, poise, and power. A true Stoic man doesn't kneel before beauty. He stands tall in his standards. That's not manipulation. That's self-respect. That's Stoicism in real life. And that, my friend, is how you become the man she wants to chase. If you truly understand this mindset, comment right now, "My time is earned, not given." Like this video. Subscribe for more modern Stoic wisdom. And remember, confidence isn't loud. It's knowing you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. Number 3, create distance on purpose. Let me make something perfectly clear. Closeness kills the chase. This is one of the hardest truths for most men to swallow, and they usually learn it too late. You think being attentive, always available, and emotionally transparent will win her over. It won't. Not if it's not earned. Predictability is the death of desire, and predictable men are forgettable. Mystery, not availability, fuels attraction. Women don't fall for what they understand. They fall for what they feel. And mystery only exists in space. Distance, when created with purpose, becomes power. It's not a game. It's not manipulation. It's standard. It's self-respect. It's leadership. A man who moves with purpose, who chooses space because he values his mission over momentary reassurance, is a man women chase. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic, wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." That's exactly the point. When she pulls back, don't panic. When the texts slow down, don't double down. Stay grounded, Stay stoic. You don't respond with need, you respond with stillness. This isn't about ghosting. It's not silence as punishment. That's the weakness of wearing a mask. What we're talking about is silence as strength, space created by a man with a life, a mission, and a spine. When you don't reply right away, it's because you're focused. When you don't overshare, it's because your inner world is private. When you don't chase, it's because you lead with calm and clarity. This is what Stoic principles teach us to lead from within, to not be shaken by temporary noise. A Stoic doesn't cling. A Stoic stands still while others flinch. He doesn't collapse under tension, he converts it into energy. Don't be like the millions of men who operate in desperation mode, always available, always checking in, always looking for reassurance. That's not love, that's fear, and fear repels. But the man who holds space, the man who pulls back without hostility and carries on with confidence, that man becomes rare, valuable, magnetic. Women feel the absence. And because it comes from a man who lives by Stoic principles, the silence speaks louder than words. Let's be real, when you pull back with purpose, you force her to self-reflect. She thinks deeper. She replays the last conversation. She measures herself against your presence. That's leadership, not manipulation. Leadership. The modern man must learn this. In a world of constant noise and overexposure, your restraint becomes your roar. You don't need to explain. You don't need to prove. You just move with deliberate calm. Here's your battle plan. She pulls away. You pull within. You don't text twice. You don't chase ghosts. You hit the gym. You sharpen your mind. You go back to your mission. Your stillness becomes her question mark. Your discipline becomes her curiosity. And that curiosity becomes her pursuit. Craving is born from distance, not from over-availability. She starts chasing not because you're doing nothing, but because you're doing everything with unshakable control. Remember this. The man who creates space with confidence will always have more power than the man who fills it out of fear. The next time you feel the urge to close the gap, stop, breathe. Ask yourself, am I doing this to connect? Or because I can't handle the quiet? Because if it's the latter, you're not standing strong. You're leaking energy. And women don't chase leaks. They chase strength. They chase leaders. They chase men who live like Marcus Aurelius, grounded, centered, immovable. Be that man, be stoic, create space, and lead from power. Number 4, let her feel replaced. Let's not sugarcoat it. If you want a woman to chase you, not just notice you, but genuinely feel your absence, you must master the art of not being available, not out of spite, not out of ego, out of self-respect. Let her feel replaced, not with a parade of women or forced photos of you pretending to move on, but with something far more powerful, your calm disappearance, your silence, your stoic detachment. That, my friend, is the blessing of Stoicism in action. Don't misunderstand. This isn't petty revenge. This is grown man energy. This is modern Stoic power. You're not ghosting out of anger. You're not ignoring her to punish her. You're simply choosing not to beg, not to chase, not to diminish yourself trying to hold on to someone who's drifting. That's what most men do. They get scared. They overcompensate. They start texting more, apologizing for things they didn't even do. They try to earn back affection that should have been freely given in the first place. And that's exactly why she loses interest. Be smarter, be calmer, be unbothered. That's the old Stoic way. Walk in silence. Carry your standards like armor. When she starts pulling away, delayed replies, last-minute cancellations, vague excuses, you don't fight. You don't flinch. You don't send flowers hoping to soften her frost. You simply redirect your energy, your time, your focus back to your body, your business, your mission. She used to be your center. Now you are. And the moment she feels that shift, that she's no longer the sun in your sky, you become the mystery she can't ignore. Here's the uncomfortable truth most men never grasp. Women don't miss the guy who begged. They miss the one who didn't blink when she tested his worth. When you vanish, not in anger but in grace, her ego trembles, her pride wavers, her mind races. Why didn't he try harder? Who has his attention now? Was I not enough? You didn't say a word, but suddenly you're the loudest voice in her head. Understand this attraction grows in distance, not in desperation. The modern Stoic man knows this. He doesn't plead, he doesn't explain, he doesn't put his self-worth on sale, he lets his absence speak, he lets his evolved presence echo, and in doing so, he becomes unforgettable. Because when a woman realizes her place in your world is not guaranteed, only then does she begin to value it. So don't be emotional, be intentional. Don't chase her. Chase your greatness. Let her watch you build. Let her scroll through your story and see the calm in your eyes, the focus in your routine, the discipline in your habits. Let her wonder who's seeing that version of you now, because that uncertainty, that's where desire is born. And no, this isn't about tricking her into coming back. It's about respecting yourself enough to not need her to. That's what makes this so powerful. That's why the old Stoic teachings still hold weight today. You're not trying to get her back. You're trying to get yourself back. And in that journey, you may find she chases, but by then, you'll only let her stay if she aligns with your values, not your loneliness. Remember this: the man who replaces her comfort with curiosity, her certainty with silence, he doesn't lose her. He redefines the game. Let her feel replaced, not through drama, but through the quiet presence of a man who has outgrown validation. Because once she feels that her spot wasn't promised, she'll either rise to meet your standards or fade away trying. And you'll keep rising either way. Don't forget to comment below. Have you ever walked away and felt the power of silence? If this hit home, subscribe, join the brotherhood. This is modern Stoic living. We don't chase approval, we embody value. Number 5, show interest, then pull back. Let's be clear from the start if you want to spark real attraction, not politeness, not convenience, but deep, rooted emotional intrigue. You need to understand the power of contrast. Predictability kills desire. Emotional whiplash, when used with maturity and presence, creates it. Now, this isn't manipulation. This is leadership, emotional leadership. And at its core, this is one of the most practical applications of Stoicism in modern relationships. You show her warmth, presence, and attention. Then you take a step back, not to punish, not to play games, but to return to your purpose. Women don't crave non-stop affection, they crave contrast. If you're always available, you become background noise. But if you're calm, grounded, and then suddenly a bit elusive, not in a cold way, but in a centered, mysteriously busy way, you activate something primal. Think of the early moments. You meet her and you're calm, you're listening, you're present. She feels your attention, but she also senses you're not trying to impress. You're interested, but not desperate. That energy is rare, and it's powerful. Now, fast forward, she texts you the next day. You don't pounce. You don't rush to respond just because your phone buzzed. You answer when you're centered, when you're free, not when you're bored. That subtle delay creates tension, not because you're ignoring her, but because you're respecting your time and hers. That's Stoic life at work, rooted in purpose, not reaction. In that space you leave, something interesting begins to happen. She starts to reflect. She replays the moments. She wonders, why did he pull back? Is he losing interest? Did I misread the connection? The curiosity is the birthplace of emotional attachment. This isn't about saying the perfect thing. It's about offering just enough of yourself to light the fire and then letting it breathe. Imagine tending a flame. You don't dump logs on it non-stop. You add fuel, then step back and let oxygen do its job. Same principle here. Too many men smother. They text too often, too soon, with too much emotional weight. They're chasing a feeling instead of standing in it. Others go cold too quickly, before any connection was even built. Both are mistakes. The man who offers presence, then gracefully returns to his mission, is the man she doesn't forget. Let's make it real with an example. You go on a great date, there's chemistry, laughter, a spark. Don't send her a 4-paragraph essay the next morning. Don't say, "Had the best time ever? Can't wait to see you again." Instead, wait. Let it breathe. Then, maybe the next afternoon, drop one clean, confident line. "Had fun last night? You've got a bold energy? I like that." Then you go quiet again. You don't disappear to hurt her. You create the contrast. That space allows her to feel her own desire rising. She starts to crave, not because you validated her, but because you didn't overfeed the connection. This is what modern Stoicism looks like in dating. It's not detachment, it's discipline. You're not reacting to your emotions or hers. You're pacing the connection. You're guiding the rhythm. You're not proving your worth through constant presence. You're letting your absence speak. And when a woman starts thinking about you when you're not around, she begins to chase you when you are. The Stoic man leads with emotional restraint, not because he's cold, but because he's in control. He's open, not empty, warm, not needy. He gives attention freely, but never wastes it. That's Stoic life. That's masculine presence. So don't chase to fill a gap. Be the man who gives just enough, then pulls back into purpose. That space you create is where desire grows. This isn't a game. It's not a tactic. It's emotional mastery. And in a world full of men who text too much, try too hard, or disappear with no depth, you'll stand out simply by being grounded, generous, and rare. Show interest, be real, then pull back. Let her feel the warmth, then miss the fire. That's when true attraction begins. And if this resonated with you, good. You're not here for approval. You're here to master the art of connection. That's Stoicism. That's power. That's you. Number 6. Make her compete with your lifestyle. Most men lose themselves in the pursuit of women because they haven't yet mastered the Stoic principles that build unshakable presence. They cancel plans, they delay purpose, they hit pause on ambition, and in doing so, they lose respect. Not just hers, their own. You must never make a woman your mission. You make your mission your mission. She wants to orbit your gravity, not become your center. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. A woman doesn't fall in love with a man who kneels to her whims. She falls for the man who is so consumed by his calling. She has to fight to be part of his world. That's not manipulation. That's magnetism. That's power through purpose. That's modern Stoic energy. Don't fake it. Don't play coy. Be genuinely busy. Build a life that stretches you. Train with intent. Read to sharpen. Create like it matters. Dominate your space with structure and discipline. When you live like this, truly live it. A woman senses it. She adapts. She invests. She tries. Why? Because she's not just chasing you. She's chasing the energy you bring to life itself. That's the spark. That's the beginning of obsession. When your lifestyle becomes the prize, your presence becomes the reward. Let's be clear. You are a man with a mission. You are on a path. You are not aimless. You are not reactive. You move with intention. You don't skip workouts to soothe someone else's insecurity. You don't reschedule business to accommodate distraction. You don't dilute your edge to win temporary affection. This is Stoic strength in action. This is what separates men who are followed from men who are forgotten. Remember, a woman doesn't admire the man who drops everything for her. She respects the man who drops nothing unless it's for something greater than both of them. You don't build jealousy, you build gravity. You don't flirt with chaos, you lock in with purpose. You don't need other women to create tension. You need a life she risks losing access to. That is the difference. That is the standard. That is the code. When she sees you're on fire with your craft, when she sees you own your mornings, structure your days, guard your nights, she asks herself, am I adding value? And when that question hits, the dynamic flips. She begins to elevate. She steps up. She dresses with more intention. She communicates with purpose. She competes, not with other women, but with the standard you've built for your world. She earns her place in a kingdom, not a waiting room. Never explain your purpose. Live it. Never beg for affection. Command it by becoming irreplaceable. The Stoic man doesn't chase. He attracts by being immovable in mission and undeniable in value. Anchored like Marcus Aurelius. Calm in chaos. Focused on distraction. He doesn't waver. He decides. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Be that man. A man of principle. A man of standards. A man who sets the pace. Here's how you live it. You're building. You've carved your mornings for deep work, your afternoons for sweat and progress, your evenings for peace, creation, or select connection. She texts, "Can we grab coffee at 10?" You say, "I'm free at 1:30. Let me know." That one line. It communicates volumes. It says, "I respect you, but I respect my path more." It says, "I'll let you in, but you walk through my door, not build your own." That's leadership. That's frame. That's living by Stoic principles, not just reading them, embodying them. Men who live like this become unforgettable, because women don't dream of men who wait. They fantasize about men they have to rise to meet. Don't shrink your world for her. Expand your world until it demands her best. Comment below, "I don't chase. I attract through discipline, purpose, and presence." This is the beginning. This is how we win. Stay locked in. We've got more power to unlock. Number 7. Reward her effort, not her looks. Don't be predictable. Don't be that guy, drooling over beauty like it's rare. She's heard it all before. Trust me. Since she was 12, she's been collecting compliments like candy, DMs overflowing, doors held open, smiles that linger just a second too long. The world has been bending over backwards for her outer shell. But you must do different. If you want to be the man she remembers, not just the one she scrolls past or ghosts politely, then hear this: reward her effort, not her looks. Be the modern Stoic in a world of weak flattery. Look, anyone can say, "You're so beautiful." Parrots can say that. Bots in her inbox already beat you to it. But it's cheap, obvious, shallow. You become wallpaper, background noise, another face in the crowd, hypnotized by skin, deep charm. Now flip the script. What if instead you said, "I noticed how you stayed fully present during dinner," or "the way you helped your friend earlier. Impressive." That's not just a compliment, it's recognition. It says, "I see you," and that, my friend, is gold. You must understand this truth. Women don't crave constant attention. They crave depth, respect, insight, noticing. That's the blessing of Stoicism, being deliberate, discerning. When you speak to the effort she puts into showing up, how she listens, how she chooses kindness, how she perseveres when life isn't easy, you elevate the connection from chemistry to character, and suddenly she's not just flattered, she's felt. You've touched something deeper than her appearance. You've touched her intention. Let's be blunt. If she's investing in you, carving time from her schedule, showing up with peace, generosity, thoughtfulness, and all you do is blurt out, "Wow, you look hot," you're training her to value the superficial. You're rewarding the wrapping, not the gift. But if you anchor your words in how she behaves, how she grows, how she brings value, you create something rare. You introduce standards. You become the mirror she wants to live up to. That is how desire gets cultivated. It becomes a game of substance. She's no longer asking, "Do I look good enough?" but "Am I living good enough for a man like this?" And don't forget the old Stoic wisdom. Marcus Aurelius didn't chase charm. He looked for strength, virtue, character. Stoicism wasn't about suppressing emotion. It was about mastering your focus. So let that be your filter. When you carry the standard of a modern Stoic, you don't fall for fantasy. You recognize reality. You attract women who bring presence, not performance, integrity. not indulgence. Women who are not just beautiful, but intentional. That's your tribe. That's your mirror. Now, let's not get it twisted. It's not about never complimenting her looks. No, be smart. Use it like seasoning, not the main dish. Say it when she least expects it. Drop it like a treasure, not a transaction. You look incredible tonight. Hits different when it follows. I love how deeply you care about the people around you. That's not flattery. That's the impact. She won't just feel desired. She'll feel understood. And here's a move only the modern Stoic pulls off when she walks in looking stunning. Say nothing. Just hold her gaze. Smile. Let your presence speak louder than words. That restraint, that silence, that's what breaks the pattern. She'll feel your energy, your discernment, your control, and it'll drive her wild. Because at that moment, she realizes she's not dealing with another approval, hungry boy. She's facing a man who sees through illusions and honors what matters. You become the challenge, the mystery, the magnet, the one she wants to earn. Because when you praise what a woman chooses, her growth, her grace, her grit, you don't just touch her ego, you touch her soul. And that's unforgettable. So don't just reward beauty, reward the rare, reward effort. Be the man who sees what others miss. Be the old Stoic in a world of swipers. And when you do, she won't just want your attention. She'll chase your respect. She'll rise to meet your energy. She'll bring more, not less. And you'll never have to chase what was drawn to depth in the first place. Comment below, I reward effort. And if that's stirring something inside you, don't move. What comes next will show you how real power is earned, not begged for. Number 8. She wants what she can't fully have. Here's a hard truth. Most men never learn scarcity seduces. Always has, always will. If you want a woman to chase you, to desire you with genuine intensity, the last thing you should do is present yourself on a silver platter. The moment she feels like she has you wrapped around her finger, like there's nothing more to earn or discover, that's the moment she emotionally checks out. It's not about being cruel or manipulative. It's about preserving mystery, because mystery fuels attraction. The common mistake: most men lay themselves bare far too early. They confuse vulnerability with overexposure. They try to prove their worth by becoming too available, too eager, too responsive. But desire does not bloom in full exposure. It thrives in tension, in contrast, in the space between knowing and wondering. When a woman is unsure, when she's asking herself, does he really want me, or is he pulling away? That's when her emotions start to swirl. That's when she thinks about you at night. That's when the chase begins. And let's be clear, this isn't about ghosting her or playing cheap mind games. This is about preserving your edge. It's about maintaining unpredictability in a world where most men spill everything within the first week. You don't need to vanish or act cold, but you do need to stay just out of emotional reach. She should not feel like she owns your heart simply because she has your attention. When you make yourself fully available, you rob her of the one thing that keeps her invested, the thrill of pursuit. Consider a real-world example. Think about a guy who's always texting her, never cancels plans, floods her with compliments, and makes her the center of his entire world. At first, she might be flattered, but soon enough, she starts feeling something else. Boredom. Not because he's a bad man, but because he's predictable. He's fully available. And full availability doesn't feel romantic. It feels ordinary. Predictability kills mystery. And mystery is where attraction lives. Now picture a different man. A man who shows interest, who connects, who listens deeply. But then he's gone. Back to his work, his passions, his purpose. She finds herself wondering, what's he up to? Is he thinking about me? Is he seeing someone else? That's when she starts to lean in. That's when she starts investing emotionally. Not because he played games, but because he lives with direction. Because his attention is valuable. Because he's not desperate to be chosen. He's already chosen his life. That's the core of the Stoic life. You don't chase validation. You don't pour yourself out for someone who hasn't earned your depth. Stoicism doesn't mean apathy. It means control. You manage your emotional availability. You decide when and how to show up. Stoic lessons teach us to guard our inner peace, to live by our values, not our impulses. It's about choosing strength over neediness, purpose over people, pleasing. Ancient warriors understood this. They never revealed everything. They knew that power lies in what's held back, not just in what's given. The same applies to modern relationships. If you want to remain unforgettable, don't let her feel like she's unlocked every part of you too soon. Let her sense that there's more, something deeper, something rarer, that no other woman has touched. When she feels that, she doesn't just want you. She becomes intrigued, invested, and driven to earn that access. And here's the beautiful part. This isn't manipulation. This is dignity. This is living by your own standards, staying true to your mission, and allowing someone else to meet you halfway. Or not at all. You give what's earned. You share what feels right. You never abandon yourself for the sake of being liked. You live like a man who knows his worth, because when you hand everything over too quickly, you become forgettable. But when you hold just enough back, when you stay composed in moments where others would crumble, you become a mystery worth solving. So if there's one thing you say today, let it be this: I never give all of myself, not out of fear, not out of ego, but out of wisdom. Because the men who give everything instantly, they get remembered briefly, but the ones who keep a little mystery alive, they live rent-free in her mind for years. Live your life. Stay focused. Be the man she has to earn. And remember, Stoicism isn't about distance. It's about discipline. You don't just give love, you give it with honor. And to those who prove they can handle it, that's not arrogance. That's mastery. And that's exactly what makes you unforgettable. All right, brother, thanks for watching. Remember this: chasing is a sign of weakness. Real attraction doesn't come from begging for attention. It comes from standing firm in your power. Stay calm, stay focused, stay detached. When you do that, she notices. She can't help it. Most men will ignore this. They'll keep chasing, texting, explaining, and wondering why it never works. But you're not most men. You're here because you want more discipline, strength, control. That's rare, that's powerful. So here's my advice. Stop trying to be liked. Start being respected. Let your silence speak. Let your presence do the work. And always remember, she chases what she fears losing. If that resonated with you, hit that subscribe button and join the tribe. And if you're serious about leveling up, check out The Blessing of Stoic. No fluff, just real tools for real men. Thanks again for tuning in. Stay grounded, stay dangerous, and I'll see you tomorrow.